Hi everyone, it's Mari. I'm back again today for some crafty inspiration with Studio Light and Ecstasy Crafts. I am going to show you how I created this beautiful slimline card today, and I'm going to start off with the Janine's Mindful Art rice paper. This is Rice JMA 36. It is an absolutely beautiful collage of gorgeous soft pastel images. I'm going to use the top kind of little scene piece there. I thought it was the perfect shape and embellishment for a card base. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere it to a piece of white mixed media cardstock here with my gel medium. So I'm going to trim off the part of this rice paper that I want to use on my project. I will take my collage medium and I will add that to my mixed media paper here. And then I will stick the rice paper to that medium. The rice paper will stick beautifully to that. And I just love this type of technique with rice paper. It's a really easy way to get that paper down onto the backing that you might be using for your project. So you can just see I'm just swiping a liberal amount of that gel medium onto my paper here, and then I'll just lightly, gently place my rice paper over top. I will just make sure that that's pressed down and nice and not necessarily straight because I'm going to be cutting this out, but just smoothed out so that there's no wrinkles or anything in it. Now I am going to take that same collage medium and go over top of the rice paper. Now this is Ranger Multi-Medium Matte, but you could use any type of gel medium, clear gel medium that you have in your stash to seal this. You could even use transparent gesso for this process in exactly the same way I have used the multi-medium matte. So I'm just finishing this off here. I'm just going to smooth this all out. And then I do take my heat tool off camera and dry this. You could also just let it dry naturally, whatever you would like to do. And once it's all dry, I will be using a die to cut out my shape. Now this is one of the Essentials dies from Studio Light. I love this series. They're so fun. And I'm going to be using this Essentials Cutting Die Stencils 397. I will leave in the description box below a list of all of the products that I used today, and I will link up to the products wherever possible. And I'm going to just tape this one die from this layering die set down to, so I'm using the smallest die for my image there on the right, and then the smallest arrow die for the rest of the image on the left. And I just wanted that arrow to have the rest of the tree that's on that rice paper image there, and you'll see how pretty that is when it all turns out. Now this is a slimline card base that I'm going to be creating here. Now this paper is 8.5 by 8, and I'm scoring it at 4 inches so that I'm going to have an 8.5 by 4 inch card base to create my slimline card. And I just measured it so that obviously the die cut pieces will fit onto this card base when it's all finished. So I have my card base all ready to go here. I've scored it and I've used my bone folder to press down on that folded section of the card base. And here you can just see how beautifully the die cut piece fits onto this card base. And I've cut out the next portions of the die from some gold metallic cardstock and some purple cardstock so that you can see how it all adheres together beautifully. That die has all of those different layering pieces to allow you to create this beautiful layered card. Now I am going to put this over onto my guillotine cutter here. And what I wanted to do is trim off that arrow section so that the white part of the card is just going to have a nice even edge to the arrow. So I'm going to just trim off, leaving a tiny little white margin. And you can see that the card base comes to a point on that arrow end and then a nice square on the opposite, on the right edge there. Now I'm going to be using a bunch of fussy cut and die cut pieces here. The fussy cut pieces come from this beautiful Ultimate Scrap paper. This is the Ultimate 18 paper. Perfect for fussy cutting. You get a zillion fussy cut pieces there to work with. This is my favorite crafting book, and this is the Watercolor Stories book. These my favorite crafting books are an absolutely beautiful and a wonderfully inexpensive way to craft because you get so much value in those little books. They are such a great price point. And so this little banner sentiment on my card here is from the My Favorite Scrap or Craft Book, Watercolor Stories book. And it says on it, sending you flowers, which is, I thought, really pretty. And I wanted to just sort of like put a little bouquet of die cut flowers or fussy cut flowers in behind that banner. I thought that it just matched the sentiment so nicely. And I just thought this would be a beautiful card to send to a friend who just needs a little bit of encouragement. And it's just, this would be such a happy card to receive in the mail. I love it. I love the interesting shape of that die and how you can create a really pretty little slimline card using those layering dies. So I'm just, like I said, using some of those little fussy cut bits to layer in behind that little banner. And right now I'm just picking up some of the different pieces and arranging them, trying to see how I want them to look here. I've got a couple of foliage pieces in behind that are taller, and then some of the smaller little floral bits I will trim up and place into the little area behind that banner. It's just a perfect little spot to stick in some little embellishments for your card. And I am going to use a little bit of foam adhesive on some of those little pieces to make that sort of like a little dimensional and textured area there where the sentiment is. And I love how that dragonfly provides just some beautiful background in those trees. That rice paper is just perfect for creating sort of like a collage look background on a project like this card. And there are actually several different styles or several different sheets of that rice paper in the Janine's Mindful Art collection, and they're all just absolutely gorgeous and really fun to use in your art journals or lots of different types of projects. Now I did want to add a little bit of bling to my project here as well, so I just took some little crystals from my stash and I'm going to add those with a little bit of really strong adhesive. This one is some Nouveau Glaze. It just dries clear, and I'm just using my Marvy Jewel picker here to place those onto the adhesive and get them down onto my project here. And like I said, they're subtle, but they're quite, they add just a little bit of beautiful, subtle bling to my project. And they're just little clear crystals that I'm adding there. I wanted to add 3, just sort of like in a little triangle shape around the little floral bouquet and sentiment area, just to finish that area off. And I love this card so much. I think it's so beautiful. Well, I just want to remind you that you can check the links in the description box below to the products that I was able to link up for this project today. I absolutely adore this card and the Studio Light products that you can purchase over at Ecstasy Crafts. Have an amazing day, everybody. See you next time. Bye-bye.